You ever been happy to hear somebody say the word fuck? Huh? It's triggering. Have you ever heard somebody say the word fuck and it made your heart flutter? It made the hair on your arm stand up. It made goosebumps come to your hands. It made hope flood into everybody within earshot of it. I don't know if you've ever experienced that. Today I'm gonna open up a little bit of the curtain and share some stuff from my personal life, which I don't necessarily do. I think the job of a comedian is to just entertain and always be funny. And you carry your personal stuff and all that, like the burdens. You carry the burdens with you, on you, and the crowd didn't pay to hear about that. But this is different. This is opinionated. This is where I can share that. This is the platform for that. So that's exactly what's going to happen. Okay? Now, real quick, I want to share my dates. And also, let me pay a bill. Today's episode is sponsored by The Roses clothing brand. The Roses is a clothing line that is a collection by myself, Nate Jackson. This top here, this jacquard happens to be The Roses. This hat happens to be The Roses. These jeans happen to be The Roses. This line will be on sale and available for purchase very soon. You got to coordinate. Now, that's enough. You can zoom in on that and see the paisley and this beautiful pattern and just know that I'm warm, I'm comfortable. I have pockets where pockets are supposed to be. This is an amazing jacquard, okay? There is also like a brown version of this. There's also pants that match the brown version of this. There's also black pants, black hoodies, black t-shirts, gray hoodies. There's a tan hoodie. The Roses coming soon. Now, for shows, I just bear with me because we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about this, the word fuck. We have the Yakima Nation's Legends Casino in Toppenish, Washington this Friday. HARRAH'S in STATELINE, Nevada. I think that's Lake Tahoe on Saturday, March 8th. Then Corpus Christi is the following weekend, the 13th through the 15th. Then the 20th through the 22nd is Plano, Texas, a.k.a. Dallas. A lot of you guys are in the comments saying, what about Texas? What about Dallas? How do you come to Houston but you don't do Dallas? I'm coming to Plano. And due to my dates generally reflecting my theater dates and my Live Nation dates, there's a lot of people who are unexposed to the comedy clubs. You need to know I'm doing Denver Comedy Works. I'm doing the Miami Improv. I'm doing the Schaumburg Improv in Chicago. I'm doing the Improv in Raleigh, North Carolina. And then I am doing the Mic Drop Comedy Club in Plano, Texas. Those are the 5 comedy clubs that I have spaced into the theater tour, just because of the amount of shows we do, the rapidity, the amount of creativity that I get to flex and work on back to back to back to back, and the amount of stage time that I get right away. Like, I have to still go to the gym, and that is the gym. Now, Syracuse, New York, March 27th. Buffalo, New York, March 28th. Washington, D.C., March 30th, and we've had to add a second show. So there will be an early show in Washington, D.C. They snatched up virtually all the tickets to the show. That's at 8 o'clock, and now we've added a 5 p.m. show. Then April 4th through the 6th is Miami, Florida at the Miami Improv. April 17th, Orlando, Florida. April 18th, Tabernacle Theater in Atlanta, Georgia. We've had to add a show in Atlanta. They have bought almost, if not almost, all tickets in Atlanta. We have added a late show in Atlanta at Tabernacle, which is profound because last year we did the Atlanta Symphony Hall, and Tabernacle is bigger than Atlanta Symphony Hall. So to say we're going to a bigger venue and we have to add a show at the bigger venue is just profound. I'm happy to an exponential degree. I want you guys to make sure you get your tickets and pull up. If you got tickets to the first show, go back and get tickets to the second show. None of the shows are the same. I assure you, I'll make a point that none of the shows are the same, especially on nights where there's an early show and a late show. Memphis, Tennessee, April 19th. Houston NRG Arena, April 25th. St. Louis, Missouri at the Pageant Theater is on May 2nd, and we have added a late show in St. Louis. The first show at 7:30 is sold out. If not sold out, there's just like handicap seating or ADA seating remaining. So we've added a 10 o'clock show. Snatch those tickets up. The Criterion in Oklahoma City, May 3rd, May 9th. Lexington Opera House in Lexington, Kentucky. We've had to add a late show in Lexington, Kentucky on May 9th at 10 p.m. Same situation as the last or aforementioned cities with added shows. State Theater, Minneapolis, Minnesota on May 10th. May 16th, Grand Rapids, Michigan. May 17th, Detroit, Michigan. Then we do the Raleigh Improv, May 29th through the 31st. In Raleigh, North Carolina, then Charlotte, North Carolina, Boston, Massachusetts, Medford, Massachusetts, and Baltimore, Maryland are June 1st, June 5th, June 6th, and June 7th. I really want you guys to step out if you're out in the Massachusetts area. You guys have been in the comments asking, what about Massachusetts? What about Massachusetts? Well, I have linked up with Bill Blumenreich, and I am doing the Wilbur, the Chevalier, and then I'm also doing the Foxwoods. All are selling tickets very well. You should hop on and get your tickets. What's interesting is Boston and Medford, Massachusetts are 20 minutes away from each other, but they are different markets entirely. So Boston is moving, Medford is moving, and then Foxwoods is also going crazy. Phoenix, Arizona, Tucson, Arizona, June 13, 14. Listen, well, I should keep going. June 20th, San Antonio, Houston, June 21st. The Wiltern Theater in Los Angeles is on June 27th, and we've added a show in Los Angeles. They snatched those tickets up. The Masonic in San Francisco is June 28th. This is the biggest show that I will have headlined. That is my own show that I am doing where I am the headlining act. This is the biggest show I will have done in my life. This theater holds 4,000 people. Now, I'm sure those of you who are the most diehard fans of me are like, 4,000? Nate, you're going to be doing arenas. And I would love to think that I am. We're working towards that hard. But let me tell you something. This one I got a pin in. I'm coming to San Francisco where I have not done stand-up comedy at in my life. I've done the Bay. I've done all over the Bay, but San Francisco has been elusive. And now we're coming to the Masonic. And out of 4,000 seats, 3,200 are already sold. So please get your tickets to San Francisco. And then Foxwoods is July 19th. Then we do the Improv the 29th through the 31st, and that's of August. Also, not mentioned on here is August 14th, Thursday, August 14th. For my birthday, I'll be headlining the Emerald Queen Casino in Tacoma, Washington. That goes up on the freeway billboard soon. The whole area here is going to be like, shut the fuck up. But it's happening. I want to say this. I intended to do this episode irregardless of who was present. I took enough time to process and put things into words, and I woke up today and I felt like I could let the words and my feelings flow through my fingers into a note. So if I look at the note, it's because these are the notes that I made, and I'm going to share this stuff. I want to say first and foremost, my mom is absolutely amazing, and she should be the mold on the top of the trophy for best moms ever. If there was an arena or a stadium where moms played, my mom would be on the statue out front, like the Staples Center, okay? But this isn't about my mom. This is about my father, my pops, Nat Jackson Sr., okay? Who and this is what's very particular about it is he's here, and he's off camera at the moment, and that's fine. I told him this was about him. He says he's gonna sit in. I'm expecting some lies, and don't tarnish my reputation. That's where we're at right now. But it's not common for me to have bring daddy to work day. In all the years of me doing comedy, 24 years, I have not just had my dad ride with me. He got in the truck and was like, I'm like the monkey that just comes with you. So here we go. Just a little backstory. My dad owned the largest telecommunications company in the South Puget Sound at the apex of his business career with 45 plus employees. He was a very, very busy dad. In my early years, he wasn't as present. I call them my mama years. These are the years where a young child, we got to eat. We need to be nurtured, breastfed. I mean, men have nipples, but what's he going to do with them? So I would say between 1 and probably age 8, while we still lived at 7533 Stillicum, was a lot of me and my mom. Me and tagging along with my mom, or my sisters were still present before Erica went off to Western, and then Howard, and then my older sister went off to Pepperdine. And so it was an empty nest other than a child that was born 12 years after when they thought they were done raising kids. And I don't want to say that in a way where like a woman may hear that and be like, the fuck you mean the nurturing year? Like, come on, man. My mom, I was coddled as a baby. You're supposed to, you know what I'm saying? And so, and my dad being a businessman, he was getting it done. As I said, the largest telecommunications company, right? Which basically saw its run with the introduction of Singular, US West, which all ended up being AT&T. Like them coming into the South Puget Sound, it was just a push on the small business to where you could see where it was time to pivot and get out. I argue we should have pivoted and got out a little bit earlier, but when you fight in the fight, it is what it is. We rode the wave until the wave went and until the wave breached. Okay. It seemed like once I got to the age where I could play organized sports, right? And I don't think it's because of sports. I think it's because that was the age that I could see the world and have had my epiphany from being just a kid to like, I see what's going on and I'm paying attention and I can listen and be told to do something, or patient enough to sit there and let adults do adult business. That's when I started going with my dad. I became his tag along, which is crazy because that's what we're doing today. To the office, to the gym, golf driving range, to while he worked out, and man, did he work out. I remember as a kid, like the only reason that he would leave the office is to go jump speed rope, skip rope on the Olympia boardwalk. And he would jump for an hour plus, soaking wet in sweat with like a Walkman on, listening to jock jams. It would draw a crowd. Like there would literally be white people like, what in the fuck fight is he getting ready for? And that was just his health regime, right? Like by far the most physically healthy person that I had seen, other than as a kid, videos of Mike Tyson getting ready for fights. Literally a crowd. You understand? Like people were just buying frozen ice cream or frozen yogurt, are standing there eating yogurt out of a cup, watching my dad skip rope and just be drenched on the Olympia boardwalk. Okay, this is really a thing I saw. A hero, some would say. I say my dad's a classic man, right? Like I watched him as a kid care for his things, like putting shoe polish on his dress shoes, showing a care for the finer things, seen him take care of alligator dress shoes that you just don't see, seeing him actually do his own shoe shine, have a shoe shine set in his closet, like know the difference between a dark brown and a black and a kiwi and what rag to use and what brush. And I'm just sitting there in the way while he teaches me that stuff. How to tie a tie, how to shoot, how to hunt, how to use a chainsaw, how to drive a stick shift, how to use an axe, how to stack firewood, how to mow a lawn, accountability for doing my chores, how to recycle, how to golf, and overall just work ethic. How to choose a good woman, how to cut and smoke a cigar, right? Like these are lessons that I can attribute specifically to my dad being like, let me teach you this, son, right? Where I'm as a kid literally trying to be his shadow, trying to emulate him, trying to do it the way my daddy did it, right? He molded my sense of humor, like in regards to what's funny and not funny, what's hilarious and not hilarious. Like what he's cracking up laughing at, I'm like, that can be found funny, right? Molded my temperament, setting a standard for logic over temper. Use your brain, son. That's what you say. How to fish in both fresh water and salt water. Okay, I remember as a little kid, and this, I don't want Child Protective Services to hear this and get involved. It's late. I'm here. I survived. Okay, but I'll say this: a father and a maybe 11-year-old son have no business in a 2-person inflatable boat in the Puget Sound fishing for wild-caught salmon. Other people doing the same fishing we were doing were on real boats. We were paddling out into a current to fish for salmon that were coming off of, like, from on the other side of the hatchery. If you know downtown Olympia, there is a bridge that separates Capitol Lake from the Puget Sound, and right there is like a salmon hatchery, like a destination for salmon to breed. You're not allowed to fish inside of the bridge to the hatchery, but on the other side of that bridge, you can fish all day long. So there's boats all along right there because it's inevitable you're gonna catch some fish. Well, I don't know what got into them, but son, we going fishing today. Today turned into tonight, right? So it's an hour before sunset. Everybody else is bringing their boats in. We're getting in a paddle boat headed out. We have no anchor. We have nowhere to stop if we get caught in the current. We got a rope that's 20 feet long and it's in a coil. And on the end of that, he has tied a piece of concrete he found that was wide enough that you could grab in your hand, and it's about this long, just a heavy piece of concrete, right? And there's another one of those too, but this one's a little more, you can hold it, and it's about this long. Think like a concrete bat, okay? And that's our anchor. So we get out there and we throw this thing. I don't even think it hits the bottom, because if it hits the bottom, you should have slack in the rope. This thing is still tight, like it's just swaying in the water, right? We're fishing and we catch a fish, right? Small for a salmon, but still this big, right? Still this big as a wild-caught salmon. It's now dark. He's got on a headlight, and we're still out here fishing, right? And we get the fish in the boat, and the fish is doing what fish do. It's losing its goddamn mind trying to get back into the water, and my dad's like, hit it, right? Now, what I didn't know is when you catch a salmon, they are going to flap. You're supposed to hit it on the head to put it out of its misery, and also it'll stop moving. You're going to eat it anyway, hit it. He says, hit it. I'm like, wait, what? He's like, use that stick. Stick is the second concrete thing. I grab it, and I hit the salmon on its side. Now, fish meat is going to lose every time against concrete. I knocked a swipe of meat off the side of this fish, right? And it's still flopping. My dad said, what the hell? You knocked all the meat off of it. Give me the stick. He takes it from me, pow, hits it on the head. We were going to be done. We got to catch another fish. You knocked all the meat off. I mean, we're pulling meat off the sushi. It's coming off the end of this stick now. I didn't know you're supposed to hit it in the head. I just listened to him and he said, hit it. Okay? This is a real thing that happened. When it was time to stand up for civil rights and economic policies that were fair towards blacks, he was on the front line, working with Eddie Rye, Art Fletcher, and other leaders, and more recently, Jesse Weinberry. But as a kid at 9, 10, 11, I'd probably say all the way up to 14, I was in tow. So wherever you saw my dad, you saw me. I was with my dad, right? It wasn't out of the norm to see me in the corner of the room or in the back of the room of an Olympia Rotary meeting. And Olympia is the capital city of Washington State, right? Where he's, to this day, the only black president of the Olympia Rotary Club. I've even been to the Capitol while my dad spoke and delivered keynote speeches with eloquence. A lot of people's first experience with a powerful black orator was Dr. Martin Luther King or Obama. But for me, it was my dad at podiums delivering poignant, powerful messages without mincing any words, as I mince words trying to say it. No stuttering, no hesitation, perfect diction, which says a lot considering at one point he had a strong Southern accent being from Bonita, Louisiana. He had honed his speaking talent and ironed out the wrinkles of his accent from his upbringing. And that carried over in regular conversation with him because he never cussed. And if you did, he'd wean the curse words out of your vocabulary, one interruption at a time, like a stickler. He would just say language. He took it as a sign of disrespect for somebody else to curse to him. Most people would take it as a sign of disrespect if somebody cursed at you, but just in his presence, he saw as disrespect. Merely cussing while talking to him, even if it was about another person or situation, would have him interject language. You're not going to speak to me just any kind of way. Have some respect. If you heard him cuss, something was very wrong, right? Like, as I've gotten older, I've heard him while smoking a cigar and hitting golf balls and talking to his friends, laughing and cussing and having fun. But this is like truly with, like he's truly comfortable. The curtain is drawn back and he's just with his friends talking shit. But in general, I didn't hear my dad cuss until I was probably 17. I was a senior in high school, except for maybe one or two times that were specifically hitched to things that happened. For instance, we had a home that he rented down on West Bay Drive, and we were out there in the dark. He had a headlight on, and he was cutting some firewood, and it's truly accurate, usually. He somehow shorthanded his shot and hit himself with the axe. And to that, he said, shit. And then I was like, call 911. You're not calling 911. He wrapped his own knee, and we drove to the emergency room, and he limped in and got himself fixed. He said, shit. My dog got hit by a car. He said, damn. he told me he cussed when he realized he wasn't going to make a flight that he needed to catch to pick up a check that would help make payroll for the company. Right? Like he's trying to get on this flight. He's got to get this check. It covers payroll. It covers the next however many weeks of, the business staying above water, and then they close the gate early and he's not able to catch it. Fuck. When I was hanging with some questionable new friends as a teenager and I got caught shoplifting at the Bon Marché, he said, God damn it. So cussing was very, very rare, okay? That's like 4 or 5 times between when I was born and when I was 17 that I heard him cuss. It was reserved for use as a reaction to only the worst and most dire and unforeseen surprise bad circumstances. And how you spoke and what you said was important to him, whether it was big or little. He would. I still remember to this. The other day, I was in a sunglasses store, and my friend picked up some glasses and was like, "Ooh, I like these ones," and I was like, "Don't say ones." And they're like, "Sorry," and I said, wow, I just did something to you that my dad did to me as a kid." Because if we would go shoe shopping or something, I'm like, I like these ones. Don't say ones. Because ones isn't necessary to the sentence for it to make sense. It's an extra word where you're doing a double plural for no reason. It shows a lack of intelligence, right? Ooh, I like these will suffice if you're pointing to an item. Ooh, I like these ones. So that was something he would correct me. Like that's how he was in shaping how you spoke. There's, how people say, oh, he's a man of very few words? He's most definitely the opposite of that. There's been times where I see his name on my phone and I don't even have 20 minutes because whatever the thing is going to take a long time, okay? Let's see. But what I'm getting at is that he taught me manhood and what it meant to be a man of the house, not his house, but my own house. And he did it in a way that always had a tinge of morality in it. Like he taught me lessons with the, when I'm long gone, you need to know these things. You know what I'm saying? So let's fast forward to an experience that I'll never forget. While trying to get to the Democratic National Convention in Chicago that just passed, something happened to him that altered my family's lives and probably my life forever. He didn't make it to the convention. He left home to go to it, but didn't make it past the parking lot at the airport. My sister got a call from his phone number at 5 a.m.-ish, but it wasn't him. It was another voice. It was a good Samaritan, a passerby, and the person said, there's an older black man here. Something's wrong with him, and he's desperately pointing out this phone number. So I called it for him, and I think he needs help. My dad had a major stroke in the parking lots of SeaTac Airport. Timing is everything when somebody has a stroke because what a stroke is, it is a lack of oxygen to the brain. And when the brain cannot get oxygen, parts of the brain die. They are not rejuvenatable. It is not like a lizard where you got hurt and your tail comes back. It's not like you cut your finger and the cut can heal. Like the rest of your body, when the brain dies, it is dead. And you have to learn all over again how to do the things that the part of your brain that died was responsible for. For some people, that's motor skills, swallowing, talking, walking. Some people's left side could go. Some people's left side of their face will never come back up to where it was. My dad completely lost his ability to speak. When I got to the hospital to visit him, he was writing on a dry erase board, and his handwriting, stroke or not, has always been shitty. This is somebody who has decided he's going to write in cursive whether people can read it or not. I watched him read what he wrote pre-stroke and be jammed up trying to read it because he wrote it so fucked up. Like, you don't even know what you wrote? So to have a stroke and be trying to write on an eraser board was tough. But I'll say this, based on how much I've been around my father in my lifetime, I was able to understand what he was trying to say better than anybody else in the room. Faster than my mom, faster than my sisters, faster than the doctor, just based off of a glance at something or a look that he made, or, because his face was still making the faces that emotional response would give, but he could not formulate his words. What we learned was he didn't lose a step physically at the time. He didn't lose anything physically, due to how much he worked out on the regular. But in cognition, he could process what's going on. He could watch the news and not miss a beat. He knows what's happening. But then in trying to say a comment on what he just saw on the news, we got to get the whiteboard, right? So imagine being a person who has eloquently spoken, even keynote spoke at the Capitol, and now you can't speak at all. I'm not trying to say this in a sense where, like, I don't feel like my father is a shell of the man he was when I said everything that he taught me and everything that I saw as a child and as an adult male pre-stroke. It's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is I'm well aware that he's the exact same person and he's just trying to figure out how to talk. Okay? Lost his ability to speak, writing on a dry erase board. The speech therapist comes into the room and is talking to a family that is essentially devastated because this is our classic man, this is our hero, this is our head of home, and now he can't communicate. I'm sitting in a room with my sister who I had flown out because I was on the road, my mom, the speech therapist, my dad, I think one of my nieces, and every time he attempts to talk and fails, I see a little bit of happiness, joy, and hope leave each family member. Okay? Imagine sitting there watching the strongest person you know struggle to do a basic thing and see them struggle, and you're okay with that. You know it's a process, but to watch other people's patience fleet because they have signed up for a lifetime with it. It was tough to watch. So the speech therapist comes into the room. She explains that the way the brain categorizes different abilities, if you lose your speech, melodies, rhythms, song, that's in a different part of your brain. Curse words, different part of your brain. So we're watching my dad scribble in a way where he never wrote good in the first place, and now it's stroke writing as well. And he's hard-headed and recalcitrant and refuses to use all caps. It would give us a chance in hell. There's only 26 letters. And I have traveled the world. You know, I just went on a European tour. We were in Sofia, Bulgaria, where they made no attempt to put English on anything. And when I tell you the shapes that were on signs there made just as much sense as how my dad was writing, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about Greek letters. We're talking about, like, a chicken would look at it and be like, nigga. Like, it was bad. It wasn't even chicken scratch, okay? And so when he's trying to tell you something and he is physically adamant about the thing, and no matter which way he tries to say it, it's not coming out. No matter which way he's trying to write it, it's not coming out. Frustration can grow in the person that's receiving that message because he's knocking your hand back and trying again to say the thing, and you don't understand him, and you're struggling to hear him. Meanwhile, you also have the emotional pull of being like, he's the one that's going through this. I should have the patience to sit while he tries to figure this out. But you have to be honest about the frustration with watching somebody just struggle. And you want to know what they're saying. Like, you just get to the point of, man, fuck it. Whatever you're trying to say isn't even that damn important. Like, the therapist is here. Let's just listen to her. She explains how the dead parts of the brain control whatever, and he can't talk, he can't write, and it's a sad moment in the room. We're depressed as a family. And then she says, song is in a different part of the brain. Mr. Jackson, can you sing? Or does he have any songs that he normally would sing? I rack my brain, and my mom's like, no. My sister's like, no. I said, no, he sings happy birthday to everybody. He calls people. He goes out of his way to take the time to sing happy birthday to people. I was like, can you sing happy birthday? Can you sing happy birthday? Doesn't sing happy birthday yet. Then just kind of glossy-eyed. I mean, he's in a hospital bed. He's got wires and cords all over him and stuff. And then she's like, well, okay, he can't sing happy birthday. Okay, back when I was in school, this is the speech therapist starting to tell a story. You know, she's like, back when I was in school, we learned that. And then he goes, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. And she's like, that is not, oh, something's wrong. That's not how you sing happy birthday. I'm like, no. That's how he sings it. He would do the standard version, then he'd give you some Stevie Wonder version, and then he just does this own like Black Frank Sinatra version. And so he's able to sing. My mom said, I'll be damned. Right? Like we went from like, oh my God, he can't speak, he can't talk, he can't do, we'll never be able to communicate with the man of our house, our provider, to him singing, and it broke the tension in the room. It was it was like a window got kicked open and only hope came in. Like, we have a baseline. Now we can get better from here, right? She just told us singing is in one category, cussing's in another one. I'm like, I said, can you cuss? She says, can you cuss? And he like, no, I can't cuss. And then he looked at me. And then he looked at my mom, he looked at my sister, and he looked at me again. And then the lady's like, okay, well, you know, he can't cuss. Maybe he lost that part of his brain as well. And I said, I'm sorry, but ma'am, he can cuss. And she's like, what do you mean? I said, I know him, and he didn't admit he could or do it right now because there's women in the room, but he can cuss. He looked at me, and then he looked at them, and he looked at me. And then my mom looked at him like, is that true? And he was like, no, I can't cuss, basically. And so he refused to cuss. We're working with him. She teaches us that tapping helps, tapping by the syllable, tapping on your leg. Some people do that. Sometimes if you play music, people are, you know, they can say what they're trying to say to the melody. You know, I'm hungry, I would like something to eat. But without that, right? So she's talking about all these ways to do therapy. We get a list of words. They were random words, and we see if he can say them. And I mean, he's trying. And it's a random list. The list has nothing to do with anything in particular other than you have to form your mouth differently to say these particular words. Like it's a challenge to see if they can form S's, T's and H's, SH, like the harder combination letter sounds of the American language. B, D, E, G, those all got the same E sound to them, but there's a different way you have to hold your mouth to get it to sound like the right letter. And so this page was for that. Giant, triple space, big, bold words, things like barbecue, right? And I'm watching him go, barb. And they're like, not yet, barbecu. No, that's not it. Barbecu. Yay! Everybody says yay. I'm like, that ain't it either. If he gonna get it right, you gotta hold him to the fire. I'm not moving to the next word until I hear barbecue. 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 Nope. Barbecue. Almost. Barbecue. Yes. Okay. Next word. Huckleberry. He struggled with huckleberry so long that my mom was like, let's just try a different exercise, right? He's hard-headed. He don't want to move on yet. Huckleberry. Barbecue. He's tired. The exercise is too much for his brain. It's time to take a nap. You gotta go in and out. Gotta let the brain rest. And My mom was like, we'll just work with him later. Take the paper from him. We take the paper, set the paper down. And we realized, like, okay, our dad's going to be in and out of, needing rest, not needing rest. Like, he just had a stroke within 48 hours. And it's a blessing that he can speak, move, do anything. And while we're trying to assess where he's at, like, it's possible to get up to the line of what's possible that day, that moment, or that exercise. You see the mental fatigue set in. So we had hope with Happy Birthday. We had hope with barbecue, but I was really pushing him. And then, like, watching him struggle with Huckleberry was like, it felt like, Happy Birthday was our baseline. Like, that's the bottom. And then to find out that just saying Huckleberry was the max, that window that had just blown open with all that hope, closed some. Does that make sense? Right? Like, singing Happy Birthday gave us, we saw light at the end of the tunnel. We knew we now had a standard for, he can't actually say words, great. But then in reading or even just in speaking to find out that Huckleberry, which I'm saying right now, it feels like, I'm taking for granted that I can, was the ceiling, was like, holy shit, we got a lot of work to do. It's gonna be a while before this person who now owns he still has a business, he's still generating revenue. It's gonna be a while. Somebody who makes money from thinking, using their brain, speaking on a regular basis, it's gonna be a while before that, like, okay. I'm sitting there thinking of ways I'm gonna have to step up. My family's thinking of ways that we're gonna have to fill the void that was what he was doing because he can't say Huckleberry. Huck. And we take the paper from him. He takes his little nap. We just let him rest. And my sister's like, we're at the bottom of the hill and we are ready for the climb and we're gonna take on these challenges with daddy. And my mom is just sitting there like, he can't even say Huckleberry, and I'm like, we're here, we're a family, and he'll get better. And then he wakes up. Fuck. Happy birthday. Fuck. Happy birthday. Fuck. Huckleberry. Happy fuck. Birthday. Fuck. Have you ever heard the word fuck and it made your skin tingle? Made your hairs rise? Gave you goosebumps? Made everybody that heard it feel hope? I have. Now, yesterday I had an experience that on the contrast, just to give contrast, was similar but very, very different. I got a phone call from a friend of mine who used to be on Team Nate. This is the people who volunteered and sacrificed and gave the time to help build and form what was originally Team Nate. I've told the story before. I was late trying to put chairs up in a show, and these people were the first ones in line, and they cupped the window and saw me in there sweating and not even dressed for the show. And then they made a Facebook event, said Team Nate meeting, and invited me to my own team's meeting, and they had already rallied troops to help with what I was trying to do. They said, he's overwhelmed, we can help. And so that was Aline. And Aline called, and she said, I don't know if you know what's happening with Alyssa, but she went down to Portland to visit her friend, and she had a stroke. And she's in the hospital, and she is, this happened on Sunday. Monday, she was responsive. Tuesday, due to complications with high blood pressure, she's not responsive, and she's on insulin machines, breathing assistance. It's like, we're talking. When I came in to see my dad, he was passing all of his physical tests with flying colors. Like, they grab your leg and lift it and then make you kick or push or whatever. He was doing all of that. My friend, who I love, was not she was not able to do that. The starting point for her family, which for us was happy birthday, that we're a long way away from that for them. In my dad's situation, he kept himself in such great physical condition with all of the working out and all of that. But in Alyssa's situation, she prioritized other parts of life, being a mom, working, being on the go, and all that more than her own health. So her walking blood pressure was consistently high. And so it hit her different. And that's the thing with strokes. We hear somebody had a stroke, and it can be something mild. They can rehabilitate fast. You hear people had something, they're out driving again, and like they're telling you they had a stroke. And you're like, you did? And then other people, it may shut down a part of the brain that controls something that swallowing. They can choke on their own spit and die if not monitored. Breathing. Consistent breathing. We all take for granted that you're just sitting here and your body makes you breathe in and out without thinking of it. It's because it's in a part of the brain that's subconscious. But if that part of your brain dies, you have to teach yourself, I need air right now. I need to blink, my eyes are moist right now. I need to sniff, my nose may run right now. Like all these things, you feel something itch in your ear, you reach up and you wipe your ear. If that part of your brain is gone, you have to learn how to respond to it by working the synapses in the alive parts of your brain so that they fire across what is now a valley, which is now the elephant graveyard of your brain. You're shooting a lightning signal all the way across. This lightning signal is used to just going pop, 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 pop. Now you're expecting it to jump over a dead part. And you got to strengthen this part and strengthen this part so that your brain can try to operate around the space and learn how to operate in that space. But you're not going to get that back. We're just trying to figure out a different way to respond to needing to swallow, right? You have to remind someone you need to swallow because they're talking to you or their mouth is full of saliva, or even while listening to you, you see spit come at the purse of their lips, right? That's where we were. Alyssa's not there. Alyssa is fighting for her life. And when you look at why that's the battle that's going on right now and know that it is, not to sound insensitive, but it is, it could have been prevented. It's self-inflicted. I prayed for her. I put hands on her. I put healing hands. I prayed and I held her. I rubbed the top of her knee. I rubbed the top of her feet that were exposed. I rubbed her head and cleared her hair out of it and moved her hair from behind her ear and I wiped her face a little and we spoke to her and we said prayers to her and Arlene even played back a prayer that somebody had sent an audio note of, and her whole family is there and they're present. And I wouldn't wish what's happening to them on anybody. It's one thing for someone to have a stroke. It's another thing for them to have one 2 hours away, and everybody has to commute daily to go see their person. So yesterday it was a 2 hour and 15-minute drive to Portland, and then back I hit traffic and it was 2 hours and 45 minutes back. So I spent about five, whatever that is, hours just driving yesterday to be able to go see my beloved friend for an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours at best, to be there to console her sister, to be there to show support for her parents who were there and her aunt and uncles that were there. So that her friendships were represented, that were felt, that because even though she's out of it, I believe that the subconscious you can hear, you can process, you can, there's stories of people coming out of a coma and they're like, was my dad here? Like they heard the voices, they remember the touch. And so I wanted to do that because I truly do love Alyssa dearly. like family. So it was a very, very hard position to be in. It was emotionally very taxing. Walking in the hotel room and seeing my dad laid up made it possible that I could walk in that room and have my shit together. You know, I walked in and saw my dad, like literally strapped the hoses cords, listening to his heart rate on a machine beeping. And while I love Alyssa, I love my dad. There's levels. And so having had that previous exposure and experience, when I walked into that room, that would have, without what happened to my dad having happened, I would have immediately walked in and broke down when I saw my friend in a much, much more concerning state. I hope and pray that she can come back from this. What her baseline is right now, to where they can get her blood pressure under control so that then she can begin her rehabilitation. So, and what is a little bit more jarring to it is that we went to high school together, right? Like my dad having a stroke, I can't front. Like there is the element of like, he's older, he's old, like that can't happen. At my age, like you got to take care of yourself like he did, and then it's preventative and all that. It still happened to him. Great like most healthy person I know, and he has a stroke. He says all the time he's been on borrowed time. He's like, my back is terrible. I should have been dead. So all of this is extra. She's the same age as me, so it added a layer of that could be me. You understand? And and you have to understand who Alyssa is by nature. Who she is organic, she's one of those people that wake up every day and is a good person. Doesn't have to tell herself to be a good person. She's a great person. She's a wonderful mom. She's a role model, a sister, an auntie. She's literally, if she's in your life, you feel the presence of her in your life. There's joy, there's music, there's Zories and happiness and laughter and wonderment, and that's just who she is. She's infectious in that regard. So to see that and to be hoping for a shimmer or glimpse of it, it was a lot. Okay, now I'm gonna say this, and this is where this applies to the viewer of this. It's a mantra that people say that health is wealth. Right? People say health is wealth, health is wealth, health is wealth. You hear that and you're like, yeah, okay. I'm sitting here right now, by definition, obese. Okay, that I am going to do in a way that I've never stated I would do before or have the intention to really do before. And I work out, but I want to be the best physical version of myself. Now, we were coming back from Europe having conversations about, yeah, we're going to do this, we're going to get in the gym, we're going to that. There's a whole nother level to it now. I want to, I have to, I want to be there for my loved ones, my friends. I don't want what I'm having seen happen to my father happen to me. I'm praying for Alyssa. I'm praying for the minnows. I'm praying for everybody who her light has ever touched, that light can be returned and used and turned into a miracle for Alyssa. If you're the type of person that prays, I want you to add something to your prayers about Alyssa. And I think that it matters. The Bible says when two or more are gathered, and so this would bring a sizable audience of prayer warriors to her cause, of living angels sending messages, filling up the prayer lines and asking and hoping that we can cover her in a veil of health and wellness and healing and recovery. I really hope we can get the world is a better place with Alyssa in it. And so the lesson I've learned from it, amongst a lot of other lessons and what I'll still be processing, is a lot. But what I will say is I want to be in the best physical condition that I possibly can. So we're going to do exactly that. So this is the beginning of my weight loss journey and my push to be the healthiest version I can of myself. And with the way I am, that means it's also the beginning for several people. So my whole camp, we about to be fine. We about to be ready for the summer. We about to be snatched. And anybody that's listening or watching or viewing, I would encourage you to join on in. This isn't even a weight loss challenge. This is what you know you needed to be doing the whole time. But now I've been shaken to the core of my moral fiber to truly have a motor and a motivation to absolutely do it when I want to do it when I don't want to do it, just get it done. Eat right, eat better, be healthier, throw some weight off. And so I'm inviting you guys to join. Okay? That's my episode for today of Opinionated. Please come check me out on tour. The show is amazing. The Netflix special is coming. We are now on the second draft of 3 that I had already, contracted for. It was amazing on the first edit. It is whatever the next descriptive word goes past amazing. It's that after the second edit, and there's a couple notes, and that'll be the third brushstroke, and then it'll be ready to submit to Netflix. Then we'll see when it comes out. That's happening. The movie Good Fortune with Aziz Ansari, Seth Rogen, Keke Palmer, and Keanu Reeves, that's going to be coming out soon. And The Office that I'm on is coming back, and they have just announced, it hit the trades, the Hollywood Reporter announced that Oscar from the original Office is also a cast member on the new Office. I knew that. I wasn't allowed to say anything. But now that's out. So for anyone who's a fan of The Office, know that you will have your nostalgia, your appetite for nostalgia of The Office met, because this exists in the same universe, the same world. It's going to be a fantastic show. It's going to be a wonderful TV show. I'm so thankful to be a part of it. And we're on tour. So come check out Nate Jackson's Super Funny World Tour. Check out the BT Kingsley On My Grind tour. That's the same show. And I love y'all. Peace.